From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Jeff Cesario and Dr. Drew. With Gina Grad on news and Paul Bryan on sound effects, and now, breaking down the breakdown, Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get on. Mandate, get it on. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for listening through these very interesting times. Good day, Gina Grad.
Good day to you.
Handball, Brian.
What I do now.
Dr. Drew should be popping up soon. The reason I got up this morning and I was like, I want to talk to Dr. Drew because some people made some mention of, quarantining and self-quarantining and distancing and social distancing and all that kind of shit. And obviously it's been a madhouse over the last week here in these United States. And I'm not sure when the first protest began, but it's been a week or close to it if it hasn't been a week.
Wednesday-ish.
And I guess it started in Minnesota, but we have just conducted a little experiment, which we took almost every major city in the United States, took a whole bunch of people, put them in a very condensed area with no social distancing and some masks, but a lot of yelling and also a lot of tear gas, which makes a lot of coughing, sneezing, and expelling. You know what I mean?
Droplets.
Yes.
Right.
Energy.
So if we don't see a massive spike in this coronavirus now, then something's up. Then we've miscalculated something, or whatever it is we're telling people to do or not to do on the beach turns out to be null and void in my mind. If you can't lie down on the beach, then mass gatherings or people physically on top of each other, putting their hands on each other, tear gas and coughing in each other's faces. If we don't see something big like now, and everyone goes, well, it's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks, but it's not 2 weeks. It's like 3 days to 5 days. 2 weeks is kind of the max. I think we're going to talk to Drew, and we'll probably see 80% of the shit would be in, I think, 3 to 5 days, which we're at now. So we should see a big swell. I know my camera's a little funky of this. And if we're not, then we have to rethink our policy about the beach. I do believe. Maxipad is rebooting my camera so you guys can see it. I'm not sure if Maxipad, does it go off or how's it work? You can yell.
We can hear you.
I guess it just goes off every once in a while. But
It just goes off, I guess. All right. Well,
The old color test pattern.
Don't worry about the camera for now, Chris. Let's boot up Drew and see about this. And also,
how does the gay pride flag?
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Chris. It's so much of this shit is so fucked up and self-imposed. Like, I live in a neighborhood, there's nothing going on. Looters couldn't find it on a map, and so on and so forth. So so my son said to me, Sonny said to me yesterday, he said, hey, do you want to go to Carney's and get hot dogs tonight? That's kind of a treat for us, which I love. But I also said something I haven't done in a while. I said, how about a hot dog party? How about a hot dog party? Hold up on Drew for a second, Max Batta. Sorry.
Hot dog party. I
Hot
think I've
dog
seen that.
party. Yeah.
Yeah, call the authorities.
My daughter's there she had about 3 of her friends. As formally discussed, my daughter's now hanging around with 3 or 4 friends in the house, ignoring all her own policies.
Uh-huh.
None of the boys come over or go around or have any contact with them. The girls, it's on. Boys, nothing. They're all just sitting alone playing video games in their bedroom. So I said to the girls, do you want to have a hot dog party tonight? They said, yes, we do.
Jesus.
You got to rephrase that.
Buddy, come on.
I get it. It's like the fucking governor talking about tennis balls. Your balls drop.
Don't touch your balls.
Kick the balls, I get it, you sophomores. The joke's over. So I said, you guys, and Natalia went, yeah, and the girls were like, yeah, and I was like, what do you want? You want the chili dogs? You find the chili? I got the hot dog chili, like I've told you about. It's not like chili. It's not like Hormel chili. It's like hot dog chili
Yeah,
dog
yeah.
chili, right? I found a few cans of that and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, I'm going to go do the podcast. And then on the way home, I'm going to swing by the Ralph's and I'm going to get the hot dogs and the buns and the this and the that. And I come home to my neighborhood, which is empty and quiet and as it normally is. And I go pulling into the market and the guy's standing out front like, curfew, man. Sorry,
Yep. Yeah,
curfew.
that's right.
Curfew.
I too tried to swing into the store on the way home and no
right.
dice.
Right. Except for who gives a shit because there's nothing going on in my fucking neighborhood. Why does this Band-Aid have to cover the entire nation? Like, good,
Right.
curfew, Santa Monica, fine. Not where I live. There's nothing going on there. Let businesses decide. Let them. It's their store. They don't want to be looted. Anyway, so
Well,
hot
my
dog
thinking
party
was.
off. Right.
My thinking was the loophole was going to be you're allowed to be on the street if you're driving to or from work. So I figured grocery stores would stay open because technically they're going to be driving home from work. So I was hopeful, but no.
All right, Drew is on now. I don't know if he's in his car or if we have the connection.
Yeah, he's driving.
with
He's driving from Orange County right now.
Okay, Drew, are you?
I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can
Yep.
hear
Hear me now?
you. All right, so massive,
How is?
massive demonstrations over the last 5 days at least. People on top of each other. Nothing in the way of safety or precautions. When should we see this giant swell? When are the hospitals going to be overwhelmed? Are the hospitals overwhelmed?
Well, I first point to that Ozark pool party where everyone knows there was a massive outbreak after that.
right,
Oh no, wait a minute. There was one case,
There
and
was
we
one
don't know
case.
that he or she contracted it there.
right.
And to your point, the fact that this is all out of doors makes anything about gathering out of doors null and void if there's not a major outbreak. And finally, to your last point, it's 3 to 7 days, 80% are in. So at 7 days, we should see something. We probably will, frankly, see something, but it won't be, oh my God, the hospitals are full. It'll be a little outbreak here and there, and that'll be that.
So we're going on day 6 of the demonstrations as
Yep.
you guys hear this, or 7 as you hear this. So we don't need 2 weeks. We need 1
No.
week for 80%. And 80%
Yeah,
is
2 weeks. 2 weeks is to guarantee safety about that one person. But
right.
in terms of when somebody's going to develop symptoms after they've been exposed, 80% are in within 7 days.
Okay. So are we seeing a uptick in hospitalizations, or are the hospitals being overrun or overwhelmed, or what is
No,
going on?
Nothing like that. No, in fact, the University of Washington just put out new data this weekend. And there's a really strange thing happening in California where the way I'm interpreting the data looks to me like we actually closed down too early. We closed down so early that we pushed infections late in this thing, right now. And so these demonstrations are right in the middle of where California is staying stubbornly static and not turning down. So probably we'll see a little uptick, but who knows? I mean, who knows?
Well, as far as the uptick goes, I don't know what's going on in Minnesota, but they started this thing 6 days or so ago. I mean, we would just see a big surge in Minnesota.
Let's put it this way. There's going to be nothing in proportion to the fear we all had about going outside.
Yeah, but
Does
what
that
about
make sense?
what about the danger? And oh God, those bitches on TV. There's like, if someone lays their towel out, who's gonna move them? Like, oh God, you fucking idiots! You're so fucking irresponsible. You're so irresponsible. They go, I'm irresponsible. You're irresponsible. Fuck you. You're scaring the shit out of everyone over fucking nothing. You idiots. You
Where are they
fucking
now?
bitches.
Where are they now?
I
Where
don't
are they
know.
how come they're not just beside themselves?
They should be.
Why aren't they completely
'Cause they don't
freaked
give
out
a
that we're going to
fuck.
cause a
Because they've moved on to racism. That's why. They're done with this. They're moving on to racism. That's the way it goes, everyone. They're trying to make money. Fine. I get it. It doesn't mean you have to listen to them. That's my whole point. It's not their fault. They're trying to make money. They want to sell ad space. I get it. Why do we all fucking echo everything the nut jobs say, the chicken littles say when their fucking head is on fire all the time? Yes, they go nuts over the pool party at the Ozarks. What was that, 3 weeks ago? When was that? Where's the follow-up?
Yeah.
What
Memorial
happened?
Day.
All right, here's our lead story. Nutty people, irresponsible, Ozarks, pool party. Good. Now, 4 days later, tell us about how the hospitals are being overwhelmed. Except for there is no follow-up. We move on to the next irresponsible case. I don't know if they know what they're doing. Anyway, the point is this, Drew.
Yeah.
Can we go to the fucking beach in L.A. and do what we want? Can we now, Gavin fucking Newsom? Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Jesus Christ, what else do you need to know?
Hey, man, it's good vibes and leading with love from Garcetti's office and from the city of Santa Monica. And it's, just kind of cool out, Adam. Just
fuck you. I'm not cooling out anymore. I want to go to the fucking beach. I'm tired of you assholes being in charge. Go ahead.
I had heard the pool is one of the safest places to be because you're dousing yourself in chlorine, essentially. You're wading in bleach.
Out of door, the Chinese did a study. They looked at 300 outbreaks, 1,500 cases. The average 70% of cases were in the home. And when they happened in the home, they essentially infected the whole household. The 30% happened in transportation and vehicles and elevators, that sort of thing. Out of the 300 cases they tracked, one was out of doors, and that was a 1-to-1 It was the only one that was not a 3 to 5 person outbreak. It was 1-to-1.
And that was two people having sex outside. So what are you going to do?
Correct. You read the study, Gina.
All right. So, I was at the Mexican restaurant place that I love so much in my neighborhood, doing the takeout with the barricade of tables in front of me and the tape on the floor, and Natalia was spraying down the fucking bag with Lysol when I brought it in. All the nachos taste like Lysol now. And it's like, I'm saying to the guy behind the counter, I said, when are we opening up here? Like, when can I come here? Yes, I enjoy your food, but taking Mexican food home with a margarita in a styrofoam cup is not quite the same as eating there and getting the salt on the edge of the glass cup. And he's like, maybe next week, maybe they'll let us open up next week. Can we just fuck off and everyone just open up? We've opened up. We've already opened up. The rioters opened everything for us. The cops opened everything for us. It's open. It's now wide open. Just fucking go back to business, everyone. Fuck this shit. These guys are insane. And I have a question. Do you have that? Remember when Gavin Newsom came in here and I was arguing with him about traffic? One of the many things I want to know what the fuck he wanted to do about traffic.
You're the traffic man.
Right.
You are the traffic.
I told, because I think there may be something afoot here. And I told Max Pat to pull that clip. How long is that clip?
It's a couple seconds.
All right. So here it is. Sorry.
I saw a billboard out on the 405 says you're not stuck in traffic. And you're thinking, how the hell, what does that mean? It says you are traffic, which I kind of like. Which
I kind of like. Okay.
So clever.
He doesn't want to. Here's the thing. Now, here's what the deal is. And here's what I'm starting to believe. You think, well, we have the most traffic in the United States, in the world, probably here in L.A. So the governor of the state that L.A. is in would probably like to solve the traffic problem. The answer is no, he doesn't want to solve the traffic problem. He wants the traffic problem to get worse so we can get out of our cars. He has a plan.
Oh, that's the stated goal of the lane diet people.
Right.
He's part of it.
Right.
That's their goal.
Mark Garagos just got a bike lane put in front of his restaurant, Tenny in downtown. Like they just took a 2-lane highway, made it into a 1-lane highway, and literally just put a bike lane directly in front of his restaurant. I think you can find a picture of that, Max Pat. The point is this. They got a plan, and their plan isn't our plan. Their plan is their plan, and they want us out of our cars. And I'm wondering how much Gavin Newsom would like to change our economy. I don't know if he wants full control over the economy. I don't know what he wants us to do, but he wants us to do something, and this appears to be an opportunity for him to do it. Otherwise, we should have opened up a month ago, like Texas and Florida and Georgia. We should have just opened up. So if we're not opening up, then what's going on? And then what's behind it? And is it the same motivation that's behind traffic, which is we have a bigger plan than you're aware of. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying it doesn't mathematically make sense anymore. Businesses are going under. I keep forgetting my sister has a hair salon. It's done. It's over with. She has a small hair salon in Topanga. It's her and her helper. She has a clientele. They're in the middle of Topanga. They've been shut down for 3 months. She told me a week ago. She's like, I'm done. I'm not going back. I'm out of business. That's it. I'm under. All right, you're fucking under. There's the bike lane that I think's in front of Tenny, which is Garrigus's restaurant.
There's the road diet.
Right. Well, by the way, I would be over the moon if I saw tons of citizens on bikes in the bike lanes. It's an empty bike lane. This isn't fucking Amsterdam. Yes, sorry, Drew.
It's something like if we can get more people into our voting pool, meaning you're dependent on the state. And then we just ask the federal government to print money. That's what the budget office has said in California. Hey, we can't print money. You guys just print the money. No big deal. Just print it and hand it over. As though, it was the most stunning, bizarre thing I've ever heard when I talked to the chairman of the budget office. I couldn't believe it. It really is. It's like, what planet are we on here where you just print money? That's how money works?
By the way,
where did you get your economics degree?
When I want a blowjob, I tell Lynette she has to talk to the chairman of the economic office, and I pull my junk out. That's my move.
I have a quick question for Dr. Drew and Adam, because I'm sure you've heard this phrase before, but the only place I've ever heard it was at the airport. And I believe it was from Adam Conover, Adam Ruins Everything, a couple years ago, but I think we're seeing it again. The phrase security theater, where they say, they're kind of making this up as they go along. Okay, you can open and this is phase 2, but this is part of phase 3, but this is phase 2B. Right. And you don't really know why. And there's nothing
it's absolutely arbitrary.
Yeah.
100% arbitrary. This is what I've been saying from the beginning. They set arbitrary endpoints on when we can open up. And I said, why? There's actually no data that wearing a mask and social distancing is different than lockdown in terms of viral transmission. The idea of quarantining healthy people is a new idea. A high school student science project whose father then built a computer model off of her project, published a paper. He put her as the second author on the paper, and the Bush administration adopted this as policy.
All right.
Never in history have we locked down healthy people.
Here's my point. Are we pussies or are we dumb? This is stupid or liar. Pussies are dumb. I don't give a fuck anymore. Everyone should just go back to work. There's nothing going on. I want to see some cases rolling in. If I don't see cases rolling in from all the protesting all over the country, everyone in everyone's face, spitting and fighting, then whatever your premise was, it was false. It doesn't exist. I don't know if you're doing it to fuck with your people. I don't know if you're doing it because you have a bid to run for president one day, but whatever it is, I'm done listening. I'm fucking going about. Well, actually, I never did listen.
You're done.
Let's be honest.
When did
Citizens,
you start?
go the fuck back to work, or go to the beach for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ! All right. So unless we see something in the next 10 minutes of hospitals being overrun, just think about how wrong they are about everything constantly. About how about all those speeches? How about all the speeches? 10 minutes ago, when they were talking about Georgia's going to reopen or Florida's going to, hey, those governors have blood on their hands. It's going to be a killing field. Okay, you were wrong. You're wrong about everything. You're always wrong. Now shut up. Shut up. Fucking apologize and shut up. You should fucking be put in a fucking timeout. Nothing else should come out of your fucking mouth, you fucking imbeciles. You lied. Or worse, you just don't know what the fuck is going on, but shut up. Blood on their hands, shut down, hospitals overwhelmed, next wave, second wave, be prepared for the second wave. Fucking idiots. And what are you people listening for? What are we all so fucking scared for? These idiots, they're in the scare business. It's their business to scare us. Why do we're fucking Charlie Brown going for the football. Lucy's holding the fucking scare ball. Why we go for it every time? What's in our wiring? Yes.
Oh, well, please. Yeah, the leadership is, I can't even express how bizarre that is now. But there is a possibility here that we will see a second little peak here.
I don't give a fuck. It's time to go back to work.
Hey,
it's time to go to work.
But the point is, then what? What's their position then? You allowed this to happen. You were so responsible. Do you have blood on your hands now? Now you guys have blood on your hands because you let this happen. A second peak. Oh my God, the most vulnerable amongst us. Here we go.
Everyone who died. Look, I said it from the word go. Why they keep saying over 60? Why can't we get ages on these people? These fucking HIPAA laws, bullshit. Don't say the person's name. Just say an 87-year-old died in a nursing home in Arcadia. Fine. Instead, another body over 60. Don't mention the nursing home. Don't mention the age. I was onto this at the fucking beginning. Why aren't you telling us? From the very beginning, we should have had two graphs. We should have had a graph that had people over 70 in nursing home, morbidly obese, diabetes, compromised. One graph. And then another graph just says healthy people under 60. And then the one graph would be fucking nothing, and the other one would be one of the Twin Towers. And then we'd have perspective. But we never did that, did we? We could have done it. It was easily done. But they're in the scare department. Oh, do we have Garcetti's got an answer? All right.
Oh, terrific.
We got our mayor's going to help this.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Are you going out there each and every day to help erase whether the gender inequities that we have, or to embrace our LGBTQ brothers and sisters, to look at our Native brothers and sisters who suffer at as deep a level as our African American brothers and sisters? This is what this moment should bring us to. Not just the scream, but the next day, the joining of hands together and figuring out how we walk as one.
All right. So have you guys reached out to the Native American community yet? Or is that...
It's on my action item list.
They're supposed to call me back.
Okay. Drew, have you gone down and reached out to the LGBTQ plus community?
I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm just finishing vomiting.
All right. Should we hold hands? Okay. I thought we shouldn't hold hands. Should we
don't hold hands.
We got to reach.
Not hold hands and social distance. No. Do not hold hands.
I'm still trying to rustle up a young black man and sit down and hear his truth from earlier, from yesterday. I'm going to do that.
Listen, of course we all want to have unity and get together, and of course we're outraged by the situation in Minneapolis. He has a society coming apart on his hands, and he's the one that locked everybody down, that created all this pent up energy.
All right, so
I mean, this guy, talk about blood on your hands. Oh my God.
Jesus fucking Christ. We have a full-blown pussy running the entire fucking city. I've told you about this a million times now. Chickens that come home to roost. All right. So if we should be hearing about 80% of it is in 3 to 7 days. So we're right in there. Yep. And if hospitals should be overwhelmed, and they're not. So let's go about our fucking business. And for fuck's sake, the beaches should be wide open. There should be no rules on the beaches at all. It's like, oh, you got to walk, but stay 6 feet apart, but stay on the wet sand, but not on the dry sand, but don't lay out a towel. Right. Fuck that. Everyone just go to the beach and do whatever the fuck they want. It's done.
It's probably the best place they could go. And let's parse it out a little bit. I mean, 3 to 7 days, I bet we'll see a little uptick, but we will not the whole point of the lockdown was not to overwhelm the hospital system. And you will see that even with all this exposure, we will not overwhelm the hospital system.
Can I float a theory, and you guys feel free to shoot holes in it, but it just occurred to me. I just from the videos I've seen, what percentage of people are wearing masks at the protest? 50-ish?
Yeah.
Higher, it looks like.
Yeah.
60%.
Yeah. So none of them are, by the way, I'd say half of the ones that were wearing masks did not have it over their nose,
right?
And virus is transmitted nose to nose.
So just occurred to me, between that and the fact that it's a bit of a self-selecting sample. Like, these are obviously people who tend more towards the left, and thus I would guess, it would stand to reason, they're people who would have observed social distancing and quarantining much more seriously than, I don't know, the average person. Would that be a reason why you'd see a smaller, Drew said an uptick, but a smaller uptick in cases as opposed to a mass outbreak?
I would say, first of all, they look like they've been practicing careful social distancing. I mean, I'm more freaked out than they are. But be that as it may, I'm just sorry, Drew. They're very likely to be asymptomatic carriers. That's the big problem.
Okay.
That's the Achilles heel in this whole thing. when they looked at the homeless populations, something like 70% of them were asymptomatic carriers. So as you get into healthier and healthier populations and people are out and about, and not that the homeless are healthy, it's that they're sort of adhere to Adam's theory about immune systems. And asymptomatic carriers are bound to be in that group.
All right, let me get a plug out for Drew. And Max Bad, we should follow this up because the stuff from Minnesota's got to be coming in these days. Now, look, it's impossible that there's not an uptick, but according to what we've been hearing over the last 2 months, there should be a tidal wave of cases, a tidal wave, because there's thousands of people who are throwing every bit of advice to the wind. It's like thousands of people face to face, screaming, tear gas, shouting, wrestling. There should just be a wave of this. And if there's a little swell of this, and it still means everything they said essentially is wrong. All right. The website is drdrew.com. You can go there for all this live stream podcasts and all that as well. So we can check that out. Thanks for joining, Drew. I appreciate it.
All right. See you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Drew.
Bye, guys.
Let's see. Minnesota health officials expect a spike, except for where's the spike? That's what I'm saying. The period of time has been long enough to get a spike, but we'll see. All right, we'll keep it covered. I'm just saying, everyone just go to the fucking beach and do whatever the fuck they want. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to lay on my belly. My son put a bottle rocket in my ass, and I'm going to fire it up into the sky. That's what I'm going to do.
Freedom.
All right, let's see. We've got a phone call here. What's the difference between this and the 92 riots? William from Glendale wants to know. William, 29, Glendale.
Hey, what's up, Adam? I just can't stop laughing. I've been on the phone for like 10 minutes. You're going great. Thanks you so much.
It's driving me nuts.
Hey,
yes.
So let's think about this, Adam. 1992, what was being burned and what was being looted?
What was being burned and looted back in the day was like stores in like South Central and grocery markets and electronic
Pico
stores
Union.
too. Yes.
Yeah, but no. South Central, Pico Union, the Valley, Pacoima. What's not being looted today or this weekend?
Pacoima.
Yes.
Right.
Now, why is it all the softy liberal cities such as Santa Monica, Fairfax, Melrose, why are they getting looted and the other places that used to be looted or 30 years ago almost, are being untouched? Why?
Well, it's probably, look, if I'm a looter, homeowner or business owner with a gun, I'm going to keep walking. And you go down to Pacoima and try to do some looting, you're going to get shot by a dude who lives in Pacoima who has a gun, because Pacoima is must be 80% Hispanic at this point.
Yes.
And there's some dudes over there who work with their hands, and they like their tools, and some of their tools are guns. So that would be a bad place to loot.
Well, the media is not talking about this. Go ahead, Brian.
Yes, Brian.
I was going to say, I think Adam alluded to it yesterday. I'm pretty sure like the looters seem to be going to the nicer parts of town and going to where there's, Nike stores and REIs and blah, 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 blah. So it would seem, I think Adam, you mentioned yesterday, they've wised up. They're going to the nice parts of town. So why loot our own town?
If you're going specifically for looting.
I think there's both. Yes. Yes, they do.
So
also, there's no guns in Santa Monica, which makes the looting
not
easier.
only guns, but look at I sent one of my camera guys out to cover all this footage, and I was shocked because I was watching the helicopter footage. I seen the guys, the looters, the protesters pushing the big trash cans, putting the barricades up, and I was thinking, oh, these are the Damien Football Williams of today. These are the gangbangers. These are all those people that we saw in '92. When I got the footage back, I was shocked. These are millennials. These are young people. These are kids who don't know what the fuck's going on. And none of them were even born in the 92 Olympics.
Yes.
92 riot.
Thanks.
That's what's going on. And their parents are going, not here. You want to go loot? You want to go riot? Go somewhere else.
Hold on a second, William. I have thoughts. Damien Football Williams is the guy that pulled Reginald Denny out of his truck and then took a cinder block and mashed his head, and then he went to jail. And then they worked hard to get him out of jail, and then he got out of jail, and I think he worked a little bit for Maxine Waters for a while, and then he killed somebody else. So turns out that one didn't turn out have such a happy ending, and maybe he's back in jail, maybe he died in jail. But anyway, point is this: two things. Here's an interesting combo. All young people have grown up playing video games. In video games, bullets don't tear into flesh. It's all virtual. Shoot, right. Nothing happens. Like virtual, video games are tons of shooting, tons of chaos, tons of street fights, tons of everything, all those things in like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
And then when they're done, they go have a fresca, take a piss, and take a nap. Okay, so you grow up with this world where it's like no thing ever. I grew up with sticks and sword fighting and wrestling and cuts and bruises, but there were sort of consequences to squaring off with somebody. They grew up in a virtual world where they have millions of man hours and woman hours playing a game where they never get a cut, and they've been telling their teachers to fuck off. There's no authority, and they have no respect for the cops. So virtual games, no respect for the cops, means 22-year-old chick wrestling with a cop in the middle of Fairfax. Yes, Brian.
Remember Dr. Jordan Peterson came on our show and extolled the virtues of rough play with kids, like when they're toddlers and stuff, like roughhousing and wrestling and stuff, to establish those mental boundaries of like, oh, this hurts and that doesn't hurt, or you can do this to someone or you can't.
Yes, you have to learn. Yes.
It's the energy. I think it's the combination of both, because like Dr. Drew said, people have been literally locked away for 3 months. It's this pent up restless leg syndrome energy that you have to get out. And that, I mean, with the 4-year-old, I'm the one who throws him around and we wrestle and stuff because he craves it. And don't adults, if we all been told to hunker down for 90 days?
Yeah, that's a perfect storm. All right, let's see. We could take a break here. Let's see. I want to take a few more phone calls. So let's take a break, and then we'll come back. I got some good phone calls up there. We'll be right back after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Ace Man, Jamie, 40, San Diego. Do we really need coming down the pipe and coming down the pike? What the hell is a pike anyway? Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Yeah, we're back. We're going to hop on, take some phone calls. We got a military guy from Virginia. I'm interested in Mike and other Mike, both Mikes. Hang on, and Aurora as well. I'm going to start with Mike, 38, Virginia. Mike?
Hey, Ace Man, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Bald, Gina, how you doing?
Hey, I'm excited to talk to Mike because he's offering solutions, which is in a short supply these days. So let's hear it.
Yeah, Ace, you talk about platitudes, Coach Platitude. So it seems like social media, a lot of platitudes lately, especially from people that have a lot of followers, a lot of power, a lot of celebrities. I'm not seeing a whole lot of concrete solutions. So with my background and my training and my expertise, I want to offer a couple of things that I think will help us moving forward. Please.
And then I want to revisit. I want to circle back after you're done and figure out why platitudes are so satisfying to so many people. I have no, when
they're safe, they're like pillows.
No, I know.
They're not going to scare you.
But when Garcetti says we have to reach out to our Native American community and LGBT community, and I just think the town's on fire. That means nothing. Right. Why does it feel like something to somebody? You know what I mean? Like, why do I go, okay, good, okay,
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah, that's good. All right, sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. And so I have 3 things real quick. I'll say what they are, and then if you want to focus on one of them. But number 1 is decriminalize police departments around the country. Number 2 is
what does that mean?
Or demilitarize.
I'm sorry. Yeah, decriminalize, demilitarize,
right.
Demilitarize. And you can talk about Section 1033. It's where the Department of Defense gives a bunch of equipment to police departments so they can get new equipment in the military. But Number two is going to be use community-oriented policing. That I went to UC Irvine there. I was a criminology student, and some of my professors had access to a longitudinal study that Santa Ana Police Department did that focused on these exact things, officers cracking down on Latinos, and it really worked. And it's a longitudinal study that can be replicated around the country. Number three.
Well, hold on. What do you mean cracking down on Latinos?
Is that the answer?
Yeah,
What's that?
Adam likes that idea.
I like.
No. The problem with a lot of the Latino gangs, so they implemented things like after-school programs. They empowered community leaders to come into the police department and talk to the lieutenants and the sergeants and the captains. And this is a really fascinating long-term study. It really worked. The results are there. So a lot of departments could look at that and say, hey, let's implement this community-oriented policing model.
Right.
It'll work, and you can repeat it. And then the third thing is cops, they go into the academy, right? They go out, they do their probation, they have a PT test maybe a couple times at the beginning of their career. That's about it for PT. And then they have to qualify on their firearms annually, right? They never have to qualify in anything like jiu-jitsu or ground fighting techniques. Let's get that something where they have to focus on that once a year. Every major police department.
Hold on. PT is physical training?
Physical training. So they'll have to do their PT in the academy, but those standards kind of go away. And especially with these restraint techniques, with like kneeling on the neck and causing the airway to collapse, those things, there's so many other things you can do, like arm bars. There's so many things that are not fatal and don't have the consequence of being fatal. Every major police department in this country, in a big area, has access to probably hundreds of Brazilian jiu-jitsu gyms. They can get a guy in there and create a program, a ground fighting technique program like we had in the Army, where you learn non-lethal holds. So those are my three suggestions.
Those are very good.
I don't know if you want to.
They're good. Let me jump in. So you bring up a good point, which is when the guys are in the academy, they're having to do the physical training and the grappling and that kind of stuff. Then they get out of there. Now you've been out of the academy for 20 years. You've re-upped your firearms every year. You've gone down and done your training with your firearms. But meanwhile, you put on 30 pounds and you've never re-upped your grappling skills or jiu-jitsu skills. So now when some young, scrappy man of color is coming at you with a sharp stick, well, which discipline are you going to go to? The grappling skills or the one you've been practicing for the last 20 years, which is pulling the piece out and firing that? I completely agree. There also, I'm not a big fan of the teachers' unions because I think they fuck up a lot of things. Like I believe a lot of the reasons a lot of the politicians don't want these charter schools is because of the unions and they're in with the unions and blah, blah, blah. Police unions sound like a bad idea to me as well. Maybe police unions and maybe teachers unions, maybe we shouldn't have those unions. I don't think they
shouldn't be so powerful.
Well, the problem is if they exist, they're then powerful because they have a big voting block. So it's like, the teachers' unions are not benefiting the kids, and the police unions are not benefiting the public. It's benefiting them. And I know if I talked to Garagos about this, he'd surely agree. Right. But so, yes, these are simple things, which is instead of, every once a day or once a year, you have to re-up with your firearms, and you also have to re-up with your physical stuff. I completely agree. That makes total sense. And it's the kind of thing that we should be having a conversation about. Now, our problem is we have like two conversations. We have a conversation about black people having a target on their back because of systemic racism, and then we have another conversation about reaching out to the LGBT community. But a conversation about grappling, a plan where they go, you're right, there's a jiu-jitsu gym within 4 miles of every police precinct. Cut a deal with those people. Those guys would probably give you a great bargain basement rate on having classes and seminars, and then on weekends, and give the guys some incentive if they get to the yellow belt or brown belt or whatever. You bump them up. Yeah, give them a bonus or whatever, and get all those guys good with their hands and not the knee on the neck, which is not really a jiu-jitsu move, but yeah, the arm bar or the knee bars or the holds. Very good, Mike. You're you sound like I'd be happy if you were my neighbor.
Or my cop.
Well, I don't know if my neighbors feel that way, Ace, but then I'll just add I was overseas, Iraq, Afghanistan. The demilitarization part, you don't want to see police in your community dressed like they're in Iraq, in Afghanistan, body armor, M4s, helmets, blousing their pants and their boots. I mean, you want to see a guy that's professional, that's wearing his police uniform, that you feel is approachable. Is that approachable to go up to a guy that looks like he's about to go on a Bin Laden raid? I don't think it is.
I agree. I think about the LAPD and those guys and all their black and all the way they look like stormtroopers. I mean, it's a psychological thing. I agree. I don't know exactly what the answer is, but like LAPD, just the color of their uniform says, back off or you're going to get shot. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Let's talk to. Oh, but speaking of uniforms, Mike Lynch did remind me of an idea I've had many years ago. Well, actually, 2 ideas. Someone tweeted me and reminded me of an idea, and then this reminded. I said, I've always said, we have a huge problem in L.A. with the homeless. Give them cop uniforms and make it look like we have a crazy presence on the street.
Like, those downtown is blanketed in cops.
Those guys never leave their post. Look at him. He never punches out. But also would be funny. Mike said, well, yeah, but then what happens when you see the cop looting the stereo store? And I'm like, no, it just looked like he's running in and everyone else would run out when he ran in,
That cop just pooped on the street.
I had 2 ideas. This has been going on for a long time. Give all those homeless guys cop uniforms and really have a presence, number 1. Number 2, somebody tweeted me this idea that I forgot about, but goddamn, is it true? We were talking to Bill yesterday, our Korean friend.
Yeah.
Billy, the liquor store owner.
Right. Korean. Dad was killed working there some years ago, blah, blah, blah. But I always said down in South Central in L.A. in 92, there's plenty of pictures of Korean dudes on the roof of their liquor store with fucking bolt-action rifles and a cigarette going, don't come near the front of this door. I will shoot your ass. And I always said, now we don't have enough Koreans to go around, but I said, if you have a business where you have the plastic owl on top of your roof so the seagulls won't shit all over the sign, put the fake Korean with the gun up there. Don't leave it out all year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
that's silly.
Don't get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like don't put the owl on top of it, even if the seagulls shit on it.
That completely ruins the illusion.
No, you keep it and you use it sparingly, which is don't put it out for the 4th of July when the beach crowd is showing up. But when we have one of these big riots, put it out, put it on top, light that cigarette, hang it out.
Light the cigarette.
Put the owl, make sure the owl is not on it.
Very important.
See if that doesn't scare away a bunch of fucking people from looting your tennis shoe store.
Well, we've come a long way, Adam, because now the pictures going around, and I don't know if they've made a difference. I haven't seen any of the after, only the before. A lot of people putting foam core or like neon posters on their store windows saying don't loot, and this is an immigrant-owned business. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a wide chasm between how we used to do it and how we do it now.
Yeah, the thing about the immigrant-owned is when you're setting Ferguson, Missouri on fire, everything there is sort of owned by the community, or at least employed by the community. I don't think there's a Marcus of Queensberry rule for that. I really don't. It'd be nice if there was. Let's see. Let's talk to what I like to do to ward off the looters is I put my coexist bumper sticker out. Okay.
Yeah.
So what that does is it makes everyone realize, hey, it's time for a cleanse. You know what I mean?
Come together.
Yeah, we need to come together.
You do that. I put "There's no room for hate" sign up.
That's
and
nice,
then they know to go elsewhere.
Right, Mike. 36, Ventura County.
Yo, Adam.
YOLO, dude.
Hey, what's up, man? I wish Mike the cop was still on the phone. Before I get to my question, just YouTube video. It's been around probably almost 10 years now. It's titled either "Never Talk to the Police" or "Don't Talk to the Police," like ever. And it's literally a law school lecture. It's about 50 minutes. And one of the students is like in his 40s, and he's even a police officer. And after the law professor is done explaining why it is almost never helpful for you to speak to a police officer, at least without an attorney present, because it never helps you. It will only hurt you. And if you watch that video, it'll help anybody in so many situations with these cops. Because growing up in LA, Adam, like you, I've been in situations where, these cops show up and they're just like the geniuses on the scene. They have no idea what's happened. They've been called somewhere, and it's just like, okay, sir, you over there, you over here. And no, don't stop there. Come back here, man. No, blah, blah. And they just start taking control because that's what they do. But anyways, I want to get to my point, which was about California. I've read all your book. I know you're a native like I am. I'm totally almost, I've lost all my faith a little bit in humanity, but sticking to just California and what we've seen, not just the politicians, but also the people. And I'll stop this word vomit soon. But how stupid have people really gotten from what you've seen? Like in general, the public.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
yes.
they say not to engage crazy.
Okay.
Speaking of which.
Yes. I'm thinking about this. I know a lot of intelligent people, and I know a lot of educated people. So who believe in a lot of crazy shit, which is to say, I don't think it's about stupid as we used to define stupid. When I was growing up, you had one yardstick to measure whether you're stupid or smart, and those were your grades. That was your report card. And that's the way we spoke about it. We'd go, that kid's smart, man, sit next to them during the test. That kid's stupid. You don't want to sit next to Adam Carolla or Ray Oldhoff or Chris Bohm during a test. For example. And so it was like stupid and smart, and we got it. And then at some point, people figured out, well, there's other types of intelligence, and it's not all just about getting a good score on your SATs. What I realize is there's a lot of people I know who are educated, well-educated, and they also have a lot of resources. They have a lot of information. They read, they watch the news, they're up on current events and so on and so forth. They also make a lot of bad, not decisions like drunk driving, but they process information in a bizarre way, such as as I've always told you, my wife's friend who was screaming that Matt Damon needed to shut up when he was talking about Al Franken not being a rapist. They have the same information as us, but they come to the bad conclusions. Yes, and they're not stupid, and they're educated. So I started to really realize that what we're missing, what we're calling stupid, is horse sense, common sense, like a basic common sense, where I say to people all the time, well, why would so-and-so do this? Or like someone, as I've mentioned before, like you'd say, Mark Zuckerberg gave $6 million to malaria eradication in Africa. And then somebody goes, $6 million, that's nothing. And it's like, okay, that's $6 million more than they had before. That's $6 million more than you've ever offered up. And please, let's use some common sense, some horse sense, like figuring out, solving problems, so-and-so. Like I was looking at, like, Lance Armstrong. I was watching the Lance Armstrong doc. Everyone hates Lance Armstrong. Well, Lance Armstrong has raised cajillions of dollars for cancer and helped cajillions of people in cancer. Yeah, but he lied. Okay, fine. What have you done for cancer, number one? And then number two, would you prefer that Lance Armstrong was never born? Or that he was born and he worked at a supermarket his entire life. Right. I'm happy that Lance Armstrong raised
that you don't compete in.
Raised cajillions of dollars for cancer and saved countless lives.
When you were talking about him so much last week, I kept thinking about that he's one of the most complicated people of our generation because, yes, he did some despicable things to other people, to teammates, blah, blah. But Livestrong is a world-class organization. I know I've worked sort of with them and been involved with them, and they do amazing things.
And have saved many, many people. Or brought awareness, or done whatever. Just, it's countless.
Raised tons of money. Tons. At the very least.
Millions and millions and billions, probably. Okay, so I am happy for Lance Armstrong's birth onto this planet. And Matt Damon as well, and Al Franken. So none of those people that we're talking about are stupid. They're all educated, but they're missing a horse sense, a common sense. And I believe that common sense is something that needs to be worked on and nurtured and sort of watered and fertilized and sort of taken care of like a crop. And the second you just go into a full digital world, the second you go into your cubicle with the air conditioning and you start checking shit on your phone and looking up your FICO score on your computer, you've gotten away from that. We have to go back into this analog world where we're literally solving physical problems and tilling soil and, putting up shelves in your garage. Like, we need some of that because we're losing our ability, not in the smarts department. We're going to have the most educated, smartest people on the planet who think in a super unclear and unrational and nonlinear kind of way because we've lost the common kind of horse sense. And if you think about it, what's all the education and all the information going to do for you if you're screaming that Matt Damon needs to shut up?
Right. Well, to bring up, sorry to interrupt, Gina, but to bring a full circle, this is going to sound very almost new agey, but like, get back to the beach. How good do you feel after you've been like body surfing or just playing in the ocean and stuff? And like your phone, can't bring your phone with you. You know what I mean? You're kind of one with nature in a way. And that sounds very,
no, I'm going to say, but get to the beach and build a sandcastle. Like, go there and build something. Go there and do something. That's the thing. We're lost. I am telling you this. Just get the Grubhub guy to bring it by. Just hop on Amazon and tell them to drop. Drop everything off at your doorstep, and or the throwaway culture, like whatever, the handle breaks on your travel mug, and you're like, just toss it away. Go to Amazon, get another one. There is something so important about looking at your travel mug with the busted handle and thinking, what would be the best way to mend this? Like, should I use white glue? No, that's wood glue. That's probably not good. What about epoxy? Maybe that's a little overkill. Like, go down into the garage, select the things. I mean, I just had my son just busted the chain on his bike. Actually, he didn't bust it. He lent it out to his husky friend, Natalia, and everyone went out for a bike ride the other day, and the chain broke. And I said, okay. And Sonny was due to go for a ride the following day with Peter around the Rose Bowl. And the bike had no chain. So first thing I said to Natalia is, where is the chain? And they're like, I don't know, on the sidewalk under the bridge. Like, we abandoned the chain. And I said, okay, come on, Sonny, get in the car. It was dark. I said, get your flashlight, your phone. Went to the underpass, literally drove around, backed out, whatever, found the chain.
Party boys.
No.
Tales from the Cheap, Sonny, you're on.
I hope you said tardy boys and not Hardy boys. But the tardy boys went out, and we found the chain. And I said, okay, now we have the chain. And I took the chain and I said, okay, I'm going to bring it in with me to the bike shop tomorrow and get a new chain. I thought, because I'm old school, the length would be enough. So the following morning, meanwhile, Peter's going to come over at noon and get the thing fixed. I went in the bike shop. I brought the chain. I said, I got the chain. I need the same length chain. They said, how many speeds is the bike? I said, I don't know, but why don't you just give me the same length chain? They said, oh, no, there's a difference in chains now in how many speeds. I said, okay, how do we determine that? They said, just go to the rear hub and count the cogs. How many gears are there? I go, I don't know. So I called Sonny, and I said, Sonny, go to your bike, go count it. He said 9. I said, count again. He said 9. I said, very well.
The famous 9 speech.
Yes. I hung up the phone. I went back. I said 9. The guy got me the right chain. Then he said, the chain may be a little long, even though it's the right chain. The length may not be right. I said, well, I'll keep the old chain and I'll match it up to the new chain's length. The old chain was kind of bent up. I said, fine. I said, then give me a chain brake. Because I used to do this shit when I was a kid, there's a tool called a chain brake. It's basically a little corkscrew where the chain goes through it and a little thing pushes the link out. It'll push the little rod out so you can make it the right length. I then brought it home and, like I said, Sonny turned the bike over and we threaded it through all the cogs and gears and everything, cut 3 or 4 links off it, put it back, put the whole thing, lubed it up. And I got my little problem solve on that morning. I hadn't done it in many, many years. And during that time, I wasn't yelling at the TV set or screaming at the politicians. We were just trying to get this chain the right length. But we need a certain amount of that. We've ignored it. We're now at the point where you go, just tell the bike guy to come over and fix the bike, or you drop it off, or tell him to come pick it up and then he'll fix it. And then we'll just buy a new bike or whatever it is. And we're more educated than we ever were. We're arguably have much more information. It's the common sense. The common sense we're losing. And by the way, that's what this whole pandemic thing has brought out. You know what I mean? Hey, don't lay on the beach. Common sense would fight against that. Common sense says no. And then you go, common sense says, don't go in the subway. Don't go in the elevator. Don't return people who are positive to a nursing home. But walking on the beach, I don't think so. That's what common sense does for us. And if we abandon that, it's dangerous. Yes.
I have a drain snake with an auger coming, and I am so excited.
Oh, really?
My God. They canceled my first order. I don't know why, but so I ordered it again. I've never done it. I can't wait. I think it's going to be so satisfying.
Well, enjoy this
Gina's
moment.
Monster.
Because when you fucking retrieve that thing from the toilet bowl and a huge maxi pad covered with pubic hair comes out at you, you will not be celebrating like you are
quite
today.
So happy,
it's the shower, but it could be the same ending. Also, when you were talking about analog versus digital, I don't know if you saw the picture. It went viral, actually, a video. Guess who did show up at one of the protests? And guess who I am 100% sure did not get caught up in rioting and especially looting?
Oh,
guess what?
Mike Rowe.
Hey, Mike, he's talking about you fuck ass.
No, Logan Paul did get caught up.
I was going to say he did get caught up.
No, not Logan Paul, the Amish.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
the Amish showed up with their buttons and their buckles and signs and
homemade signs.
Stood quietly and just spoke their very silent and polite truth. And I don't think got caught up at looting the van store.
Speaking of looting,
they're Converse guys.
Right.
By the way, speaking of looting, Billy, who owns the liquor store, has a GoFundMe page as of a few hours ago, and it's raised almost $28,000 now.
Whoa!
So please participate.
That's wonderful.
St. Regis Liquor on 3rd Street, if you're looking to Google that or whatever.
The headline is "Save the St. Regis."
I don't know if you guys all saw the footage of the guy in the convertible Rolls Royce rolling into town. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, and we couldn't figure out who it was, but I think we know now. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't know who was that.
I was told
Frankie
so this is just
Muniz.
Yes, and he was with my friend. Said she figured it out. I think it was Ray J.
Was it Ray J?
That's what I was told, but I didn't. We were all trying to figure it out. And she goes, "I think it's Ray J." Like, okay, that was anticlimactic.
All right, last call. Aurora, 54, Palm Desert.
Yes.
How
are you?
Protesters, good. How are you doing?
Good. You and Dennis Prager were out here for the Indian Wells Speaker Series last year. My husband and I saw you both, and we loved you.
Thanks.
So you're kind of familiar with the area that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody is going to have a protest on our beautiful street of El Paseo between the hours of 3 to 5 today.
Mm-hmm.
And people were talking to each other on Instagram through these people that are going to have this protest. and people are hashtagging on Twitter that it's El Paseo, we have Gucci, and I don't see how this is going to end well.
Oh, you have a lot of high-end retail. Yeah.
Yeah, they're already boarding up the windows, and they're stopping through traffic. And, we have our sheriff wasn't going to follow the laws in regards to the lockdown. I don't call it a quarantine, by the way. And if you wanted to start your business, he didn't have a problem with it, our sheriff. So I'm hoping that he'll be proactive, but I'm a little frightened by this.
It's interesting, the boarding up. I'm so amazed. You see these guys, they're coming at, they're coming at these boarded up windows or these gated up places, and they appear to have like a Walkman and a roller skate. And the next thing you know, they've busted down the steel gate. It's like,
right.
I will give the devil their due. These kids, it's crazy with no, again, it's interesting. I haven't seen it, but there is a line of battery-operated tools now that is insane, that are really effective. Like you could get a battery-operated grinder, put a thin cutting wheel on it, get a small can of WD-40, no, Molly Lube's actually more effective, and spray it on, and like get into anything. But
the Anarchist Cookbook.
Yes.
Yeah, what are you doing?
All right, that's Ray J in the video.
Yeah, that's what they said.
My favorite video of the whole week was during the same melee, the scuffle that was on Fairfax or going on CBS, Television City or whatever it was. This one kid, you guys have probably all seen it, he chucked a water bottle at the security that was at CBS, and within 0.3 of a second of chucking the water bottle at not at the cops, but at the security, was run over by a dumpster. Did you guys see this?
Let's see.
No, it's so good. He's in the red shirt. He goes, all right, fuckers, picks up it, throws it at him. Boom. Like he just get plowed.
Got him good.
And I hate to think of myself as this guy, but I was watching going, good. You ran at security. You picked up, by the way, these aren't cops.
Yeah.
These are immigrant guys. These are black guys and Mexican guys who are getting $17 an hour.
Those are not your oppressors. Those are not your oppressors. There's no reason to throw things at them. They're trying to keep the CBS from burning down.
And speaking of that, I don't know if you saw Ken Jennings' response on Twitter, a guest of the show recently. It made me think of you. It says they're showing a picture and it says the Cincinnati police pulled down the American flag at the Justice Center and replaced it with thin blue line. Infuriating picture from a friend. Ken Jennings says, let's just give tactical gear and near unlimited authority to some of the dumber guys from your high school. What could go wrong?
Yeah, well, that's who that's who the cops are, sadly. All right, let me hit Method Men, and then we'll bring Cesario in. We'll take a break. We'll bring Cesario in, right? All right. Method Men. Fresh approach to grooming. Staying clean, fresh. Should be fuss-free. Body washes. By the way, y'all, I'm wearing their deodorant right now, and it is so good. It doesn't smell like deodorant. I hate it when guys smell Red Zone, Power Stick, and all that. And it's like, it smells like deodorant. Stuff just smells good. Clean design, inside and out, sophisticated, nature-inspired fragrances. Keep your body and your pits and your hair nice and fresh. Actually, use the Sea and Surf. Sea and Surf used a body wash the other day on my parts, on my personal parts, and it smells so good.
Yeah, I used the body wash too, Adam. We got some sent in. I had the Cypress Pine. I'm smelling ultra fresh.
We'll have a junk off after the show. See who's fresher down there. Save 15% with the code ADAM when you go to Method Men. That's METHODMEN.com. Visit methodmen.com. Get fresh without the fuss and save 15% with the code ADAMS. Good stuff. I am telling you. Get a sniff of that. All right, quick break. Back with Rotten Tomatoes. We'll play with, and Chet Waterhouse, I'm guessing, too. Do that with Jeff Cesario right after this.
Listen to that It's a high falsetto voice that can only mean one thing, and you can feel it. Dawson names a flicks, and the gang makes their picks, guessing if it's rotten or fresh. If they guess it exactly, we'll get a bonus 5. It's the Rotten Tomatoes game. You know how we do it. Give me the Rotten Tomatoes game. Now it's time to play it.
All right. Cesario is having some technical difficulties. Now he's back. I didn't even get to finish saying the word difficulties. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm pretty good. Knock on wood, this will hold together. We'll see.
So we got Chet Waterhouse, which we always love, and then we got the Rotten Tomatoes game. But I feel like as long as we can hear you, maybe we should do the Chet Waterhouse and then roll into Rotten Tomatoes. So you want to fire that up, and then we'll roll into Rotten Tomatoes with Jeff Cesario. By the way, new comedy album is coming out on June 5th, so look out for that. Where do we find that, Jeff?
I think initially it's exclusive on Sirius XM and Pandora, and then it goes wide wherever you can stream albums.
What was
I don't really know where.
What Was I Thinking is the name of it, and Jeff is a super funny stand-up, so please enjoy that. All right, let's get in a little Chet Waterhouse, shall we?
The Sports with Chet Waterhouse.
Oh, brother, time for the Waterhouse Update, brought to you by the Thunderburps, the Air Force belching team. NASCAR, Thunder Valley 500, Chase Elliott and Joey Logano crashed near the end, and Brad Keselowski forced to win. Like James Woods with half a fact, he just keeps coming at you. Said Logano, I'm Italian. I don't even know how I got here. Race delayed when leader Denny Hamlin sneezed with his window open, and his potential COVID cloud blew back 500 yards. Next week, they're at Knuckle River Raceway for the Bottom Feeder 400. That wrap-up brought to you by the Elon Musketeers. If you're gonna follow a nut, shoot high. South Korea's pastime, baseball. The Wang Chung Wet Markets beat the Wu-Tang Satter Guns 11-10 on a walk-off homer by Lenny Randall. That can't be right. America's pastime, looting. Big winner, that Seattle woman who left a ransacked cheesecake factory with a single plain cheesecake. Forget it, Vinny Tortorich. That's discipline. That wrap-up sponsored by Carnivorios, the chocolate cookie with the white meat center. NBA going right to the playoffs, which trims nearly 3 full games off the schedule. Ultimate Fighting. Dana White announced UFC 256 will be held on the head of a pin in an alternate universe. PGA, John Deere Classic's been canceled. Hey, lawn boy, I see an opening. And finally, this week in sports history, the year 1872, the place Saratoga, New York, the 6th Belmont Stakes was won by James Rowe aboard Joe Daniels. The two men said they were just good friends. This Waterhouse Update brought to you by Needle and Thread, the Amish bedazzler. If you want more of me this weekend, I'll be in Chainsmoke, Nevada, the annual Spitball Invitational. It started as the Twin Wrestling Championship, but with social distancing, this is as good as it gets. This is Chet Waterhouse reminding you to play with pain.
Chet Waterhouse, Sports.
That, my friend, is a veteran, a seasoned professional, and it's just that you will hear that coming through his comedy album, What Was I Thinking, out on the 5th, and coming out on the 5th, available. And by the way, the podcast, Play with Pain, with Chet Waterhouse, available on Apple Podcasts. Well, yes, Brian.
Only a bit of a left turn, but only because it's timely. We have Jeff on. Jeff, you live in Westwood, in the Westwood area. Did you hear there's a planned protest just down the road from where your house is at the federal?
I believe the National Guard presence in Westwood has made them decide to cancel the protest.
They persuaded them?
Yeah, that's the last information we're getting off our next feed, et cetera, and those kinds of neighborhood news watch kind of things. So that's what we're hearing there. But needless to say, Adam, you'll be proud to know I have my 12-pound pipe wrench ready to go.
Nice.
Just in
Well, I know
in case someone tries to come in.
We have this thing where, like, and Garcetti was talking about during his press conference, like, no, we're not going to call the National Guard. That's 1992. That's not what we do. Like, that's what he said in his press conference. Then 10 minutes later, he called the National Guard. And I think we're all like, nobody likes the idea of a National Guard. I don't like the idea of an air marshal, but I'm kind of okay with one on my flight. You know what I mean? And I kind of that way, like, hey, if I live in a nice neighborhood, and if there was a lot of marauding folks running around, and it's like, well, you don't want to militarize, I can militarize for 2.5 days, and then they can go away.
Nobody wants it, but it's a nice option to have in your back pocket, like chemotherapy. It's like, no one wants that, but it's nice to know it exists.
And especially
maybe if they dressed. If they dress like golf pros, it might take it down a notch.
Khakis and polos.
Yes,
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
But in Bagger Vance era too, not the modern.
Oh, sure.
The real blousy knickers, yeah.
Watch it when you're talking about Bagger Vance.
Gina, you can't say that. You can't say that.
All right, should we play the game? We already did the intro. Go ahead, Dawson.
All right, if you haven't already pre-ordered Adam's new book, I'm Your Emotional Support Animal, do it now. It comes out on June 16th. So order it and get yourself or your loved one the perfect Father's Day gift to celebrate your latest accomplishment, Ace. This week's Rotten Tomatoes game is based on some of the chapter's titles.
All right. Ooh.
Chapter 1, Support Dogs and the Death of Dignity. Well, for once, let's honor a dog who actually does provide support. On the basketball court, that is. Bet you didn't know Harvey Weinstein produced this kids' canine classic that currently has 14 sequels and spin-offs.
Wow.
From 1997, Air Bud.
Air Bud had a big litter.
That poster is amazing. He sits, he stays, he shoots, he scores.
Good.
The dog is dunking. And by the way,
K9.
Not since Whoopi Goldberg's Burglar, where she was riding the cop bike on the suspension cable of the Golden Gate Bridge, have I been so bamboozled by a movie poster. This never took place. When you see the movie poster from Cop, or a Burglar. When you see the movie poster for Burglar, Whoopi Goldberg's on a police bike riding on the cable. You know, I've said this many times. If it doesn't happen in the movie, you shouldn't be able to show it on the poster. If the dog doesn't dunk, you can't show it on the poster. What if porn worked this way? What if porn just had a bunch of supermodels on the fucking box and you went, okay, I'll get this one, and then nothing but 4s and 5s in there? You'd burn down the video store. I may be dating myself. Okay.
This is as unbelievable as Ben Affleck falling in love with anybody on a moving poster. That doesn't happen.
I love I wonder if Weinstein was consistent. Like, I wonder if he called the golden retriever up to his room in Manhattan and be like, I could go with a schnauzer.
What would you do for this role?
You lick my balls, I'll lick yours. That's the way the business works. Do you know
Chris,
that this dog, ironically, tragically, or whatever, lost a limb later on in its career? Do you guys know that?
I did not know that, no.
I remember certain weird things, like Judge Ito had a bunch of hourglasses on his desk, and I do remember hearing a story that the dog from Air Bud had to have a leg amputated.
Is he playing wheelchair basketball
at some point? It's probably gone by now.
So
but
Buddy,
so many post-up moves.
In 97, the article was written about Buddy, a 7-year-old golden retriever who also appeared in America's Funniest Home Videos and Late Night with David Letterman, began limping toward the end of filming Air Bud in December, and he lost his leg to cancer.
Oh, Jesus.
He is still able to shoot baskets, said Disney spokeswoman Terry Curtin.
Nothing's going to hold him back.
Wow, that's perseverance.
But not at the high school level anymore, right? He's doing it for fun. These are pickup games in the dog park, right? He's not helping his local high school team. Was he playing for a high school team? This dog or junior high team?
I don't know.
All right.
Anyone see this movie? Yeah.
Chris, please marry up side by side the poster for Burglar and the poster for A View to a Kill. A year and a half apart, both atop the Golden Gate Bridge.
Wow. All these movies do is serve to upset me because I watch them. I see that dog go for a triple-double in a playoff game, and then I come home and I see my dog laying on top of the fucking slab in front of the front door, and I go, "You worthless sack of shit. Look at you. You don't move. You don't work the pivot. You don't spread the ball around." All right.
You can't even beat Portland.
Yeah, this is not a good movie. It's a Disney movie. It's a kids movie. Maybe it's got some heart. I don't think anyone's seen it. It's probably a nice Disney kids movie, and it's probably not fresh, but it's not 15. It's a nice Disney kids movie, I suppose. I'm going to lock it in at 39.
Bold move here. I said just on the cusp of
61.
fresh. 61.
What?
It's a kid's movie. As long as it delivers a pleasant story.
It's a kid's movie about a dog that plays basketball. I think it's one of these issues where you don't want to be the critic that gets caught dead thinking this is okay. It'll ruin your cred. I said 27.
Wow, I'm going to go with a 73, and that's brought to you by Conundrums, the drum set no one can figure out.
Conundrums.
Air Bud is rotten at 45%.
Wow.
Oh, brother.
Higher than I thought.
Jumping
Those
ahead.
highfalutin critics, what do they know about dog basketball? Nothing. I've called dog basketball, and it's not easy.
Jeff, what was your score again?
73.
73.
Sure. All right.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking.
Right. Whoopi, yeah. Now, at least what James Bond was doing is theoretically possible, I guess, even though he's wearing a smooth-soled loafer and his gal is wearing heels or she's barefoot. And they're walking on top of one of the
He's having a shootout with Christopher Walken atop the Golden Gate Bridge.
Totally doable.
It's highly unlikely, but I would argue if you widen out on Burglar, not only is what Whoopi doing impossible, you have a cop car behind her who's just driving on the right side of the car. Widen out on Whoopi if you would, Max Zapata. Is there any kind of sanctioning body for these posters? Like, I feel like if I was working for Paramount, when they showed me the poster, I'd go, we got an issue here because you have a cop car chasing a two-wheeled motorcycle that's riding on a 1 foot wide suspension cable. How is the cop car doing that? Like,
yeah, it's exciting. People are going to go see our movie. Yeah, what's the problem?
Well, the problem, Stan.
You remember Joey Chitwood, the stunt driving guy?
Yes, the thrill teams. I
we
get
got the
it.
best.
Right.
No.
Even he said, I'm not doing this.
Joey Chitwood could ride on two wheels, but the car had to be up at a 45-degree angle. You can't just have the car flat. By the way, the left side of the car is where the driver is. We're in America, so you have a 200-pound cop sitting on that. I just don't think this scene is in the movie. That's all. All right.
It's misleading.
Misleading. All right.
Why is there a spoon flying out of her motorcycle?
You're going to have to see the movie.
She's a burglar. Can we remember how? Can we remember just our super lazy, hazy days of summer and how naive we all were and how wonderful a world it is when people would break in your house and steal silverware? Imagine somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Now it's like they break in your house? Oh, just to vandalize it and have sex with the kids. Like there is no more stealing of silverware. She was stealing silverware. She's a burglar.
The cat burglar.
Serial burglar.
Wow. Serial burglar, yes.
Jumping ahead to chapter 3, it's not all good in the victimhood. We talk a lot about self-made martyrs who benefit from your sympathy. Our next film takes that notion to the extreme, showing you a victim who's ultimately transformed into an iconic supervillain. From 2019, Oscar winner Joaquin Phoenix stars as Joker.
Well, everyone loved this. I haven't seen it yet. My son loves it, says it's great. I feel like
It's a movie.
I'm bummed out enough. Like,
Gina.
I just don't want to be.
Oh, this is not a feel-good movie.
This is not the time.
Yeah, like
No.
I'd rather watch Precious and see if I could get myself back to homeostasis. I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel a lot this way with like these videos on the internet. Like, oh, this guy gets a compound fracture in the UFC. You got to see it. And I'm like, no, I don't. I get it. I get it. And I'm not saying it's like I want to say this is a very good movie and a skillfully executed movie. I just would rather watch something fun and stupid right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not it.
Okay. But
Yeah, no.
critics loved it, I think.
Loved it.
So I'm going to go. You guys locked in?
Yep.
1 second. Okay.
91.
I said 91 as well.
I was going to say 91. I went a couple of ticks lower at 89. We watched this, I think, the same day or maybe the
I
same
went
weekend as
89
Taxi Driver. And I said, has anyone drawn parallels between these movies? And Andy goes, oh, yes, everybody.
Yeah, I'm
89.
going 89 too.
All right.
89 as well.
All right, Joker is fresh at 68%.
Oh, good.
Wow.
I'm surprised and not surprised.
That's really, really
I didn't
surprising.
care for it.
Yeah.
It
People
was up
have,
for Best Picture, wasn't it?
yeah, people
So?
have it at 88. Wow. I stand corrected.
Next up, we
me
got a
too.
chapter called #Heroes. We live in a world where everyone thinks they're a hero. I guess our next film was way ahead of its time. Back in 99, an all-star cast of wannabe superheroes like the Shoveler,
Yeah.
the Bowler, the Spleen, and Mr. Furious teamed up to take on Casanova Frankenstein in this superhero spoof, 1999's Mystery Men.
Saw this in the theater.
I love this movie.
Janine Garofalo.
Don't listen to Brian.
There's a lot.
I love this movie.
It's a good cast, right?
Yes.
Oh God, there's a montage sequence where they're trying out new superheroes for the team, and there's at least 2 or 3 notable faces who were not famous at the time. I think maybe Dane Cook. I think Dana Gould might have been in that. Like, you guys can track that down. It's the montage sequence, but yeah.
Well, this is. I didn't see it. I think I remember hearing it was kind of fun. I think it may have been a little like what Galaxy Quest was to sci-fi. Like maybe it got some, oh, that's surprising. I liked it.
It's just self-aware and smart. Yeah.
I have no idea. We don't know what Brian's doing right now.
I do.
You do? I'm not going to say it was bad. I'll go with the barely fresh at 61.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This is a really good movie. I think the critics totally missed the tone. It's silly and it's irreverent. I said 65.
Oh, wow. I think, 47. Jeff? Jeff's
I
recusing
think
himself.
Jeff locked up. Jeff?
Oh,
there he goes.
You're
Yeah,
there.
I'm going 56.
One of you is on the button.
If I'm still even around.
Mystery Men is barely fresh at 61.
Sure.
Oh, I needed that one.
Internet.
Yes.
And Dana Gould was Squeegee Man.
Yeah, that's right. Dana Gould. They were trying out like absurd superheroes, and he had a squeegee.
Next up is chapter 6 in the book, Academia Nuts. As this chapter's title suggests, all of our teachers have become entitled narcissists. Then again, maybe it's always been this way. Our next film takes place in 1959, where an unconventional teacher rips chapters out of textbooks and tells his prep school students to stand on their desks and stand up to their oppressive fathers. Carpe Some Diem, with Robin Williams in 1989's Dead Poets Society.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Oh, they love this movie, right? They loved it. You say it was 89?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's interesting about this, though? 0 woke points. Look at that cast, a lily white gentleman.
Well, it's a prep school, but yeah, you're right.
All right.
I think this is his first Best Actor nomination, perhaps.
Maybe.
Anyway,
Was this... let's see. I was trying to think of... God, what was the movie where John Lithgow played his like transgender
Garp.
mom? Is this World
Yeah,
According to
World
Is this
According to Garp.
before that World According to Garp?
No,
this is
that's an
long
older
after.
movie.
In fact, this might be after Good Morning Vietnam, so I could be wrong about that.
So maybe,
You're
yeah.
right. Yeah, this is the second Best Actor nomination. Good Morning Vietnam was 2 years earlier.
Okay, so now they love this movie, but they love it in the 90s. They love it in the 80s. We've got kind of burned with Joker already for going a little high. I'm going to lock it in at 89.
I got to make a move here because I think I'm falling behind. So I actually went a little low. This movie's really melodramatic, almost sappy. So I said 70.
Interesting. I said 88.
I'm going 81. That's brought to you by Porn on the Cob, Iowa's #1 adult store.
That's good.
That's
good.
funny.
Dead
I
Poets
was-
Society is certified fresh
Dang.
at 84%.
Oh,
Ooh.
good.
It's a tight game.
Oh, I might be
here.
back in this.
I think I fell off a little bit there.
Finally, Chapter 8 is titled From Primates to Postmates, The De-Evolution of a Species. In honor of this chapter's title, we turn to the long-standing Hollywood tradition of pairing movie stars with monkeys. Clint Eastwood stars as a trucker, a bare-knuckle brawler, and a lover. With a motorcycle gang hot on his heels, he and his pet orangutan Clyde set out for the American West. 1978's Every Which Way But Loose.
You realize when you watch this movie, you realize there were 8 guys who played bikers in Hollywood in the 70s. And they would show up on Sanford and Son, and they would show up on Clint Eastwood movies. There's like one guy with bad skin who was husky, another guy with like a big beard who was husky. And it's like the same 8 guys. And if there was any sitcom where there was a situation where like the bumbling guy spilt the coffee at the guy at the counter at the diner and he stood up, it was just one of those guys. That's we had like 5 biker guys, and they're all in this movie because they need them all. All right, so someone tweeted me, Clint Eastwood turned 90 the other day. 90 years of age.
Certified fresh.
Monkey turned 53.
I think my dad is going to turn 90. I'll tell you what. When my dad, remind me, Max Bada, when my dad turns 90, let me show up at his house with a list of Clint Eastwood accomplishments, and then we'll have my dad's written down on a cocktail napkin, and then I'll just compare and contrast the 2 lives as a celebration of my dad's life. Yes?
Yeah, I'm down. And he turned 90 on Sunday.
Yes.
Oh, Mazel Tov.
All right.
That poster is fantastic.
Now, this is tough. This is tough. I think Brian's a little behind here.
Yeah.
We're it's pretty tight at the top. And these movies were considered like fun and rollicking and whatever back when we didn't put our jeweler's loop on to criticize a movie. It was like, yeah, it was fun.
Do we know why he has a chimpanzee?
I don't know, but his chimpanzee is named Clyde. And he would ride shotgun in his truck. And when he wanted to punch one of the bikers that like pulled up next to him in his truck, he'd go, "Right turn, Clyde," and Clyde would smack his arm out and punch the biker in the head.
That's good. That's good turn signal humor.
Yeah. So I got
a small subdivision.
I got to protect the lead. I can't believe this is fresh. But it's also like fun and who cares? And Clint Eastwood was not carrying this sort of political baggage that he's pulling now. I'm going to go with what I presume to be a safe 55.
Yeah, I had to go a little bold here. 20.
I too went with a safe 55.
I'm going 38, and that's brought to you by the Tough Actors Bikers Gang. Looks can be deceiving.
Every Which Way But Loose is rotten at 37%.
Ooh, now it's real close.
Yeah.
Look,
Not enough for me to pick up there, unfortunately.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a streak broken today.
Oh.
Damn it.
Gina Grad.
Podium.
After successive weeks of making it to the podium, you come out in fourth place with a score of 75. F, man. And it's going to hurt a little bit more when you find out that Bald Brian beat you by 1 point for third
domination,
place.
Domination.
Leaving Jeff Cesario and
Wow.
Adam Carolla separated by 11 points. Jeff, you're coming in at 58, making you the winner of second place because Adam takes the cake at 47.
Yeah.
Nice.
I would deliver my acceptance speech, but we have to get to the news, so I'll move it along. I will. Outro. Sorry. Can I say something? I don't know, Cesario and sports and all that's kind of reminding me of this. I brought it up once, maybe a long time ago. Can we stop this thing where at the end of the boxing match or the UFC fight, it was like a close, hard-fought battle, 5 rounds. The ref stands between the two fighters. He holds both their wrists in order to raise the hand of the winner. They're talking about Judge Marquez has it 55-54. Judge Garcia has it at tied 55. And one guy's raising his hand already. It's like, put your fucking hand down. Can we get through this? So sometimes one guy, or oftentimes both guys, will have their free hand up. And it's like, let me explain how this works. You stand in the center of the ring. The guy with the bow tie holds your wrist, and then he raises the one who wins. You don't raise the one while they're reading all the judges' scorecards. It's weird. And then at some point, you put yours down, and the other guy puts his up, or sometimes you're both up. We should eliminate that. We should go, hey,
no good.
Here's the new protocol. You stand there and you wait to have your hand raised, not raise your free arm. That's all. Makes sense?
As though it's going to influence the referee. Well, he's already got one hand up.
Yeah, also, they're reading the judges' scorecards. You think one of the judge goes, hold on, give me a mulligan. Give me that
hands
back.
Up.
I like that guy's armpit. I'm going to go ahead and change round 4 to a 10-8 round. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with the news right after this.
Give me the news with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking viral, all those crazy Trump tweets. Give me news with Gina Grad. Trouble in the Middle East. Celebrity drunk meltdowns. Need news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, I can't believe how little coronavirus news we have. Suddenly, it's like we walked off one of those walking escalators at the airport. Switching gears, of course, again, just to give an overview, because I know we're all pretty sick of hearing the same stats over and over again. At least 40 cities in D.C. Had imposed curfews Sunday night in response to violent protests across the country over the weekend. Additionally, as of Sunday, approximately 5,000 National Guard members activated in 15 states. We were one of them here in LA, also Washington, D.C., another 2,000 prepared to activate if needed. Arizona, the governor said the emergency declaration, which they activated emergency and disaster relief, will allow police to be equipped to make arrests of individuals who are planning to riot, loot, or cause damage or unrest. Texas, it allows the federal agents to serve as peace officers. Virginia, it allows the mobilization of resources, including the National Guard. Meanwhile, the city of Chicago closed the central business district, kind of like we just heard about in Palm Springs. That's the loop area, to only employees whose businesses are located in the business and residents who literally live there can't get in or out. Otherwise, major highways closed in Minnesota just to sort of prepare. And we talked about this a bit, but the looting moved on. We were dealing with downtown Los Angeles here in LA and the Melrose area. Well, Sunday night, it turned to Santa Monica, and Long Beach hit pretty extensively. Santa Monica, looters spent hours at the upscale business district, stealing stuff, setting fires. Long Beach, an outlet mall and some downtown shops were hit. This was in the news as protesters screamed at the looters and begged them to stop, which we've been hearing a lot of. Hundreds arrested. In response to the protest across the nation, our LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva announced this countywide curfew, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. But of course, the looting went long into the evening. I personally haven't heard of any weekday curfews yet, but you never know, and you're going to get a little alert on your phone. And in terms of,
I got to say, I'm a little tired of all the alerts on the phone. Like I was trying to talk to Matt on the ride in the other day, and the alert, constantly getting those fucking Amber alerts all the time, which again, it's fine. But most of the time, I'm sitting in my den watching Sports Center. I don't jump up and yell, gas up the rig, and I start strapping on a helmet and flak jacket. I'm going to bring this perp down. And also, this is a dad who got into a shitty custody battle with his ex, and now he's kept his 9-year-old for 2 days longer than he should have. That's between them. I don't need the alert. We don't need to be fucking deputized.
And unless you're on the 5 near Brea, these don't affect you. They're not.
It'd be nice if we geo-targeted a little bit, because we're getting alerts for, the aforementioned Pacoima, God knows where the fuck ever it is.
Well, and also, it always reminded me of the of the traffic reports. Like, well, in Upton, near the Slauson cutoff, there's construction. It's like, what percentage of people are driving their car or heading for the Slauson cutoff in Upton? What percentage? It can't be 1%. What percentage are even in their car? Why are we so specific with this? This is the parsley by the side of the plate. Nothing ever. I sit home and listen to the radio. They're still giving traffic updates. There is no traffic.
You took the very ugly Upland and replaced it with the much more attractive Upton.
Upton. Oh yeah, Upland.
Kate Upton.
Sorry. Yeah, Kate Upland. Yeah.
It's a global. They don't know.
You're right.
So speaking of retail shops, a lot of people are going, you know what, we better get out in front of this. So Target, CVS, Apple, and Walmart all temporarily and quickly adjusted their hours. Those, I don't know if we got an alert for that, but I got a news notification about Target first. In some places, their stores have been burned, looted, turned very violent. Amazon even said Sunday, amid the curfew, it adjusted its routes and suspended deliveries to keep drivers safe in cities like LA, Chicago, Seattle, Minneapolis. So if you paid for Prime and didn't get your package last night, that's why. But again, I knew, and I think we all knew leading up to a Friday and Saturday, all hell was going to break loose. I really don't know what to expect during the weekday. Do you guys have a prediction for the week?
I'm trying to kind of figure out how many of these people that are hitting the streets and looting or being violent or doing whatever live with their parents. Or a parent. Like, how many is it possible that there's a mom and a dad, and then this young person is leaving to go join the group and vandalize and loot and set fires? I mean, that number must be ridiculously low, right?
Sounds far-fetched.
And how are you going to bring all that shit home without anyone noticing?
And then what percentage of them had a mom and a dad and then moved out 3 years ago to go to college or to get a job or have a roommate? Like, I just would love to get statistics on intact families, looters, violence, and graffiti and starting fires. I think there's a direct correlation. I feel like the dads are the disciplinarians. The dads are gone. There's no more discipline. And now the discipline is kind of left up to the cops and the school teachers and the security guards. They have become the disciplinarians. And the problem with that is if the dads are doing it at home and it starts from the time you come home from the hospital and the dad is disciplining you along the way, then obviously when you become an adult, you don't need the cops and the security guards and the school teachers to discipline you. If, in fact, the cops and the school teachers are disciplining you and the security guards, it's always going to have a horrible outcome. That discipline from the outside, what your dad and mom, but what your dad really can do with the timeouts or the you've lost the use of your cell phone for 3 days, because all that stuff, like from the inside out, works pretty good. And then you become 19 and you enter society and you have a pretty good relationship with discipline. Like you've kind of been authority. You've been kind of calibrated. If you have no calibration, then the security guy pulls out the pepper spray and then you yell, "You're not the boss of me." And the next thing you know, you guys are rolling around on the ground and the outcome is always going to be bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Thank you.
So just also in terms of protective, doing things in advance for the protection of others, Secret Service agents rushed Trump to the White House bunker Friday night when protests became very crazy in D.C.
Olympus has fallen.
Yeah, Trump spent nearly an hour in the bunker, which is designed for emergency use like terrorist attacks. That was from a Republican source close to the White House, definitely not able to speak on record. Not immediately clear if the First Lady and Barron were with him, but Secret Service protocol would have said that, whoever's under the roof and with the family should go to the underground shelter.
Jeff is having some technical difficulties, so he's fallen off, but that's all right because we don't have much more show to go. But I was thinking about it. I wonder if Trump gets good cell connections, good cell service from the bunker, and then maybe if he isn't able to tweet from the bunker, then maybe
it's a win for us all.
Yes, maybe. But I'm picturing one of his aides like looking out the window in 6 months going, looks like there's a storm brewing out there, Chief.
Keep you safe, Mr. President.
Just to be safe.
That's the gardener, isn't it? You don't know what disguises these people show up in.
They're very clever, sir. They're very clever.
Let's let discretion be the better part of valor. Let's go down into the bunker. I can't tweet in the bunker. Well, it's all right. You'll make up for it when we let you out.
Yeah, compose some drafts.
We'll bring you some food. What do you like? Yeah. To the bunker.
Like taco bowls. Yeah, that's great. Well, he wasn't in there long because he did tweet very soon after that he does blame Antifa for all this and has now designated it a terrorist organization, according to one of his tweets. So Antifa, short for anti-fascist, is named loosely for affiliated with this left-leaning anti-racist group that have been involved in some violent clashes over the years. The movement has no unified structure, no national leadership. Trump has railed against the left-wing agitators and other times in the presidency, referring to them as the alt-left in 2017, following the violent confrontation between white nationalists and counter-protesters in Virginia. So they're now on the terrorist group, but we know there's very good people on both sides. So we'll see what happens.
What does the terrorist group designation get us? Does it mean the FBI
That's a good question.
I think what it does is it opens up what the FBI and the CIA folks, law enforcement, can do. So if you take the Crips or the Bloods, it's kind of up to the police to deal with the Crips and the Bloods. But if you designate them a terrorist group, then you can get the feds involved or others involved, and you can start, wiretapping their phones and things like that. I think there's something to that. I think it opens up the parameters, in other words, that the law enforcement and federal law enforcement can use, the tools they can use, because now your terrorist group, we can tap your phone, I think.
Right. And maybe more to do with the Department of Justice now instead of just your local law enforcement. Yeah.
Right.
I'm just
Do we have, is all our curfews and stuff in place for here?
I haven't gotten any alerts, but I just saw
alerts yet.
Long Beach scheduled for 4 p.m. and then 1 p.m. for businesses.
Jesus.
4 p.m.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. for
Play some board games.
I know.
So of course, I was driving like a bat out of hell. So I don't know if you discussed this with Mark Garrigus yesterday or not, or the other day, but NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell being accused of hypocrisy and insincerity in his response to the death of George Floyd and the protests that followed. Now, every big business on Instagram, Twitter, everybody's putting up a statement now, every big business, many big businesses. And critics pointed to the league's handling of Colin Kaepernick and his protest against police brutality in 2016, saying Goodell and the league had deliberately stifled Kaepernick, and they really don't have a right to appear to be siding with protesters or anything right now.
I do love the idea that everyone has to weigh in. Like, hey, weather tech, let me get your take on this horrible, senseless killing. Well, we who manufacture plastic rugs for your automobile and cup holders feel that our number one priority is like everybody has to just fucking weigh in now.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So what he said, just part of what he said, the NFL family is greatly saddened by the tragic events across the country. Oh, now it's up on my screen. 1 second. The protesters' reaction to these incidents reflect the pain, anger, and frustration that so many of us feel. Deepest condolences to Mr. George Floyd, to Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor. As current events dramatically underscore, there remains much more to do in our country and as a league, blah, blah, blah. People like Ava DuVernay, who's a director, Michael Sean Duggar, who writes for The Atlantic, they're just like, are you kidding me? Colin Kaepernick asked the NFL to care about the lives of Black people. They banned him from their platforms. This is disingenuous. This is insincere. So they could have sat this one out probably.
You know, once they're going to have to get a Black commissioner, right? At some point.
It's kind of shocking they haven't, yeah.
Right. And then the problem for Whitey is once you get a Black commissioner or you get a Black police chief or whatever, you can't go back. You can go back to black. You can't go back to honky. Like once you get the Black person in that position, then it becomes weird and political if the redhead guy takes his place. So I understand NFL, you should have a Black commissioner, but once you do, there's no
turning back.
No going back. Or you can get a chick. You might be able to get a white chick in there next. I don't think you can get another guy that looks like Goodell. All right. Yeah, this is... they do more harm than good, right? Like, shouldn't they just kind of no comment, just not put stuff out? Just, I don't know. Were you guys wondering, like, what's the NFL's take on this? Like,
no. And that's that old adage: it's better to keep your mouth shut and people think you're dumb than to open your mouth and confirm it. This is not the hill for him to die on.
Well, look no further than what is the shit? What's the James
Brolin Woods.
No, a young actor got Me Too'd. James
Franco.
Oh,
Franco.
All right, James Franco. The reason we don't hear his name anymore is because he put like a Me Too pin on his lapel and went like down the red carpet. And I don't know, Rose McGowan saw it and went, "You're wearing a fucking Me Too pin? You fucked tons of chicks or whatever in your acting class." So he put the pin on, then they went, "Why are you wearing that pin?" And then they ruined his career, essentially. But what I'm saying is you make the statement, you put the pin on, you've opened the door. Leave the fucking pin at home, don't make the statement. And it's not like anyone's watching the red carpet at the Oscars and sees James walking down the carpet and goes, "Where's his pin?"
Yeah, exactly.
Now, that's the new world order. Like, it's like, it kind of reminds me of like, we're in this kind of frenzy and this mad mob, and your job is just blend in with that mob. Don't stand up on an apple crate and start preaching. You're going to get hit with a can of paint.
Yes, you remind the bad mob reminds me. It was Mike Pence who tweeted. Obviously, we always stand with. We'll always stand for the right of Americans to peacefully protest and let their voices be heard. And the mob obviously jumped all over him, like, motherfucker, you could this whole fucking stunt where you went to an Indianapolis Colts game, Colin Kaepernick kneeled, and you left before the game, like this whole pre-planned stunt. Like, you obviously don't support the rights of people to peacefully protest. So just fucking sit this one out.
No comment. Yeah, exactly right.
Just sit it out.
Exactly right.
Well, here's something that did not get a lot of press because we've been a little sidetracked, but normally this would be headline news just because somebody actually got it on camera.
Brian, to be fair, he did watch the kickoff, announced it was a blowout while the ball was in the air, and left. So that's his argument. I don't know that
Brian's
much.
showing his bias.
I don't know enough about football. I can't climb into the man's head.
No, that's what I get for following too many, people on one side. I gotta start.
Open it up.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So actor Denzel Washington now being hailed as a good Samaritan after he came to the aid of a distressed man in LA the other day. So somebody shot this video last week and posted it to Twitter. You see Washington, well, you don't see this part, but Washington pulled over his car to help this guy who was at risk of getting run over, basically, while standing in the middle of a busy intersection. He then intervened when the cop showed up, tried to prevent the situation from escalating between the guy and the police. He's standing there with them. They're handcuffing the guy, but without incident. Then we're watching a bit of the clip right now. I believe they end up taking the handcuffs off him. Denzel gives him a mask to wear. He buys him a meal, and everybody goes about their way. Basically, he was just this sort of random hero, and even the sergeant appreciated it. Here's a clip of him recapping the situation.
Hi, officer. Can you tell me what just happened? Because we saw that Denzel Washington was here with what appeared to be a homeless guy.
Yes, sir. Denzel, I guess, drove by, saw the individual on the road, and was worried about his safety. Denzel pulled over, got the individual out the road, and then officers were called by another person that was driving by that saw Denzel. We intervened, spoke with the individual, and determined that he did not want to harm himself or others, and he was on his way, and Denzel left. Denzel provided him a mask to protect himself from the environment.
All right.
Oh, there's a little more, but yeah, he gave him a meal, and they said, he's a good Samaritan. It was a nice moment.
I'm surprised, like Brian always says, that there's not a whole bunch of people named Denzel. There should be a bevy of 22-year-old black men named Denzel.
A beloved actor, controversy-free as far as I can tell, and universally admired on all sides of the color spectrum.
Speaking of that, especially having a 4-year-old now, with like littler kids that, that in the last, say, 4 or 5 years, no little Baracks to be found.
Yeah, it's weird. I guess in a way, maybe they're like, we're going to make up our own name. We're not going with the stuff off the shelf. We're going bespoke. Like if you
sure.
We're going with a name that's never been uttered by a human being ever again. Or because if you think about it, maybe you go, all right, if you're in the black community, maybe you go, we'll go with James, or we'll go with Kevin or Nicholas or something like that, or what have you. But then you go, and that group's going to go with a traditional name. But if you're going to go non-traditional name, then maybe you make up your own name. See, Whitey, we don't have that luxury. We either go traditional name or non-traditional name, but bespoke name, I'm making up my own name, doesn't exist.
We basically go traditional or noun.
Right. But we can't. Yeah, we could do the Dakotas or the Jerseys
Sage,
or Sage
Apple.
or something like that, but it has to exist. We can't make it out of whole cloth. All right, let's do one.
It has to be found in nature.
One more. I should write it. My next book should be called Rules for Whitey.
Oh, that's good.
Boy's name.
Look at that.
Popularity. Denzel, boy's name, popularity.
Oh, it spiked in 93, but look how low it is, like starting in 2000. This is one of our finest actors of our generation.
Did he get nominated in 93 or 92?
No, 1990 is when Glory came out.
Okay.
And he became really super famous pretty quickly.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. I mean, look at all the folks who named their kid after John Wayne.
I have a friend named after John Wayne.
Is his name Duke?
First name John, middle name Wayne.
Wow.
His dad was a real shit kicker, and he liked John Wayne and his son John Wayne.
I was making a joke, but okay. I was thinking about John Kimmel.
John Wayne Chapman.
All right, he's going to shoot the president, isn't he?
I was just going to say that sounds like a murderer's name.
No.
Well, the day is young. All right, one more, Gina Grad.
All right. So some people still take social distancing seriously. They might not be in this country, but sex in your house with someone from outside of your house is literally now illegal in the UK. The government is introducing new lockdown measures in England that prevent people from socializing with one person from outside of their household in a private space. So up until now, the person visiting your house for sex would have been a breach of measures. But now both people would technically be able to be prosecuted under the law with amendment regulations being introduced in Parliament. For those couples looking for a little workaround, having sex in public, already illegal. And Downing Street today, they insisted police would show discretion and common sense, but they are calling this a serious crime.
The disgraced guy who came up with all the modelers for all the models.
They're Fauci.
Mad cow disease and how millions of people were going to be ravaged in the global pandemic and body counts and stuff, who turned out to be more than 100% wrong, if that's possible. He was way wrong. That guy got busted for having sex with his girlfriend inside his house.
Yep.
I don't know. Again, with all whatever rioting is going on and all this, isn't it kind of time to lift these things?
Feels like a violation of civil rights. Also, like I've heard anecdotally from like people who've worked in prisons, like security guards and whatever. Like, we actually kind of tacitly encourage the inmates to smoke marijuana because it keeps them calm. They don't fight. They don't, blah blah blah. And it's like, I can see that.
That was one of the best and only arguments I ever heard for conjugal visits. I'm like, these guys are locked up. Why are they having sex? What's with the conjugal visits? And the guy said it calms them down. And I was like,
carrot at the end of the stick.
Right,
you're good for a month.
Yeah, don't start a race riot on the handball courts, and you get to fuck your old lady in 3 weeks. And I was like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. Yeah, I get it. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.
All right. Geico, these days, everyone is sharing more. They're sharing their dance moves. They're sharing their DIY haircut fails and their inner lip sync star. Geico thinks it's time to do a little sharing with you. Geico is going to give it back, man. 15% credit on your car and motorcycle policies for current and new customers, because Geico's committed for the long haul. They know you're not driving around that much these days, and they're willing to kick some back. The credit lasts your full policy term. So visit geico.com/giveback for info and eligibility. That's geico.com/giveback. All right, Adam Ray on the show tomorrow. Always good. Zanies, me in Nashville coming up, doing live shows there and stand up there as well, June 12th and 13th. So tickets still available for that. Pre-order that on your emotional sport animals. Ready to go now. And check out the stand-up on the YouTube page, youtube.com/Adam Carolla. And until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Dr. Drew and Jeff Cesario and Ball Bryan and Gina Grad saying mahalo.